I tweeted this yesterday. Westbrook to the Clippers is interesting. And I use the word interesting because there's going to be a strong discord on the left side that says, oh, Westbrook was a disaster. Westbrook was trash. Westbrook was this, that, there. He was the reason for the Lakers. But he can go to the Clippers and change it, right? And then there's going to be on the right discourse where it's like, no, Westbrook's bad. He's done. Even if he goes to the Clippers, there's nothing he can do. Why is he getting minutes over Terrence Mann? There's no room. I'm more of in the middle. I would just love to see what Ty Lue is going to cook up. I think Westbrook brings some good things to the Clippers. I think Westbrook brings some bad things to the Clippers. I think Westbrook's going to bring the same thing he brings to every single team every year. He's going to bring bad decision-making. He's going to bring high energy. He's going to bring good rebounding. He's going to bring horrible off-ball defense. He's going to bring bad spacing. So
he's going to bring pace.
He is going to bring pace. At times, the pace becomes a little out of control. So he's very erratic. So it's like Westbrook's going to he's been bringing the same thing to a team for the past 12 seasons. I don't know why anybody has seen it differentiate from it. I just think it's interesting because Terrence Mann has been so good in the lineup as a starter. The team has been so well oiled. So well run at the moment. They've been pretty good over the last month and some change. You watch this team. They just picked up Eric Gordon. They just picked up Mason Plumlee. They just picked up Bones. Now you bring in Westbrook. Where does Bones go? What does he do? That's supposed to be the backup point guard. Down there saying Westbrook will start, so where does T-Man go? So I use the word interesting because I am extremely interested at what Ballmer's cooking. He obviously doesn't care about money. He just wants to win. I respect that about Ballmer. Doesn't care how much money it costs. He wants to win at all costs. I get that. I respect that as a GM. You do what you need to do. He's also worth mad chicken, so, have fun with that. Lawrence Frank, Ty Lue, I am extremely, extremely interested to see how they do it. I don't have an opinion on it because I don't know how the lineup's going to look. Westbrook does, like I said,
he's going to come off the bench.
No, they say he's going to start eventually.
Really?
Yes, they said he's going to start eventually. They've talked about his role. He's going to start eventually, but obviously he's going to come off the bench to get a feel, get the rust off. But I do find this interesting, and I'm just waiting to see how this is going to play out.
Russell Westbrook signed for the league minimum, $700,000 rest of the season.
Why does Pat Bev get paid more than him?
And when he was on the floor this year, the Lakers were he was a positive for the team because of how badly they needed that playmaking. They're a plus 4.8 per 100 offensively, but they're around, the same point differential because defensively, you said it before, he falls asleep. He was really good at switch on the bigger players. That's one thing I've noticed for the Clippers. They're a team that likes so small, they can switch. He's a player that's a lot of pride in him. So while he may fall asleep off the ball in the corner and let someone get a wide open backdoor cut, he's really good switch on a bigger, tougher forward. It's like a Kawhi Leonard he did earlier in the season. I think what the Clippers have done, it's kind of funny. So you move Reggie Jackson, you get the same mold of a player in Bones Island. You move John Wall, and you get the same mold of a player in Russ. He can't close games for this team because they're not going to play with the pace that he likes to play with. For Russ in the stage of his career, he needs to be on a place like Washington, where they'll have the fastest pace in the NBA, and they'll be a fun playing team that will then be knocked down in the first round. But I do think for them, this is some extra body you can toss in there, and he brings some energy. And at the point guard position, I trust him more than Bones Island, just because Bones is a horrific defender. And, he's a young guard that doesn't really know how to facilitate yet. There's probably going to be a very real conversation for the Clippers. If Paul George gets banged up or whatnot, maybe Russ does close an occasional game for them. All in all, get this move, like a C, because he can't shoot, can't space the floor, and you're not going to have Kawhi playing off Russell Westbrook.
That's a fact.
So.
Want to go, Joe?
Interesting signing. Sorry, caught me off guard there. I think Russell Westbrook can win you a game or two in the playoffs. He could also lose you a game or two in the playoffs. What it comes down to is he's just probably the most volatile player in the league. He could give you 28-7 one night, right? And you could win a playoff game with him. And then he could have moments like he did most recently in LeBron's record-breaking game where he's going up the court, throwing the ball fucking 40 feet down the court, and it goes out of bounds, and he's making these boneheaded decisions. The Clippers needed a playmaker. Obviously, Terrence Mann has been listed as their point guard. I know, Riv, as you mentioned, Paul George has been mostly playing that role. I just don't know if Russell Westbrook is the guy you want to be facilitating this team. It feels like what the Clippers needed is almost the opposite of Russell Westbrook. Exactly. It's someone who is not going to take dumb shots, especially in the fourth quarter and crunch time. He's going to be more than fine deferring to Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And it's not that Westbrook won't or doesn't, but he is always just going to be on attack mode, looking to push the ball when possibly it's not needed, or possibly taking the shot when he could just give it to Kawhi or Paul George. And that in an isolation setting is always going to be better than Russell Westbrook just isolating one-on-one with his defender when he inevitably just goes to the rim and either loses the ball or get fouled. So I think it's a bit of a volatile move because while you're going to have those moments of excellence from Westbrook where he can be efficient, he can push the ball well and make good decisions, for a team that wants to win the finals and be on a deep playoff run, I don't know how realistic it is to expect Russell Westbrook to be your starting point guard, let alone come off the bench. But if this report is true and they want him to eventually be the starter alongside Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, it's not the ideal fit. And it's a weird situation because now he's coming in at the end of February. All these guys have been playing together, new environment, obviously same city, but new team, new players, new coaching staff, new everything for him. So now he has to come in and kind of seamlessly fit. And obviously, like, he's played with Paul George before, so he has some continuity there. But you're expecting a lot. If this was someone like the Bulls, I think it makes more sense because, not to pick on Riv, but it's a team that's like borderline play-in, trying to get to that playoff spot, and Russell Westbrook could win you some of those games. Yeah. And if he loses them, he loses them. Who cares? The Bulls.
Oh,
but the Clippers, on the other hand, it's much more important to win these games because you're going to be in the first round of the playoffs, second round of the playoffs. Maybe you can even get to the conference finals. Now these games become bigger, and the spotlight is bigger on Westbrook. So when he makes those mistakes, everyone's going to be talking about and saying, how can you go and make this signing? So I think the volatility is the most interesting thing where you needed the playmaking on this Clippers team, but when you get Westbrook, you get the playmaking, but all of the negative playmaking, I guess you could say, that comes with it.
First of all, Westbrook, DeMar lineup's lit. Very, very
be fun.
Yo, and I also told you DeMar would play a lot more than you were giving credit for, and he did. He got buckets.
Don't care.
I'm just letting you know that's an L. So to talk about Russell
The
Westbrook,
Lakers season is an L.
and we're going to see about that. Casual. So to talk about the Clippers, of course, and Russell Westbrook going to the Clippers now, I feel indifferent to this move. Of course, they did need a playmaker, and that was a huge knock on them at the trade deadline, them not acquiring a true point guard. I would have liked Mike Conley to be that addition. Unfortunately, he was not made available. He was traded to the Timberwolves. But why this move makes me indifferent is because, yes, you need the playmaking, but again, he's not going to help you space the floor. And as is, there's not that many great shooters on the Clippers as is, and you need spacing, especially if you want Russell Westbrook to be your starting point guard. So I need to see this for myself.
Some good shooters on the Clippers.
I'm not going to say you're wrong. Obviously, PG is a solid shot. Powell has been really solid off the bench recently with his 3-point.
Shoot.
But
his percentage isn't great.
But really, there's a limited amount of shooters per se, and there needs to be a specific lineup that you run Russell Westbrook on for him to be successful. Yes, the playmaking is exciting, but again, the turnovers are a strong issue. He is a turnover machine. He's been that basically his entire career, but I guess you take the good with the bad because of how solid his playmaking is when it's hitting. Yes, he brings you energy. He's a great locker room presence. Although with the Lakers, it seemed like he was made to be the bad guy at times because of the energy that he brought. I overlooked that because of how he's been known as such a great leader. Basically, the entirety of his career, there was just a huge price tag on Russell Westbrook's name while he was in LA, so a lot of blame was going towards him since he was not performing up to the level. And now he's with the Clippers. It's a completely different situation where they're not paying him top dollar. There's no true responsibility on Russell Westbrook to play well, where if he's unplayable at times, there is nothing really holding the Clippers back from saying, hey, hit the bench. You're not working for us right now. You're going to have to sit. Right now, it's getting to a point where you're unplayable. If that happens, the Clippers have that luxury where the Lakers kind of were handicapped where we're paying him $40 million. We have no luxury of having other players to play in front of Russell Westbrook. We need him to play. So that's where they kind of were at crossroads. So, again, I'm indifferent. We'll see how it works out. So real quick to talk about, we're not going to talk about Kevin Love to Miami. I mean, that's at this point in his career, Kevin Love, cool move, we know who he is. Miami needed some players, and Kevin Love obviously just gives them some leadership in the locker room, some three-point shooting. But
good backup center. He's better than Dwayne Dedmon.
Okay.
They need
big presence.
Shooting.
And that's who they needed 3-point shooting.
28th in 3-point percentage after being.
I mean, wouldn't you go to Miami? Wouldn't you go to Miami?
If you want to win a chip, no.
Miami's not horrible though.
They're not.
You know what they're going to do? They're going to give him a rotation spot. that he lost in Cleveland.
It's because they're not fun.
Kevin Love.
Oh.
He lost his spot in the rotation. He wants to play. He's 34. He can contribute as a shooter. And you'd say with them being one of the 3 or 4 best defenses in the league, they can somewhat mask his lack of limitations on that side of the ball defensively.
So, for the lulz, talk to me, Riv. Patrick Beverley to your Chicago Bulls.
We're really gonna
Would you have rathered Russell Westbrook? Or are you happy with Pat Bev?
I'd
Talk to
rather
me.
fucking neither.